Hello, everybody. My name is Thirteene, and I have officially joined The Walking Dead. So, appreciate everybody willing to bear with me. I took 2 days off from streaming so I could try to get my house together. I literally just built my desk, got the computer set up. Resolution looks a little off. I didn't even have time to get water before I started streaming, but we're going to be doing a fast one tonight. We are going to be playing Narset Cannon. So I have played this deck before. This deck is a ton of fun. It's also very busted. It is rated M for me because we are literally doing explosive broken things. I think Grizz Scholbrand has technically taken over as the fastest deck in Modern right now, but this is definitely up there with them. So what we are trying to do is Faithful Saluting, get Narset into the bin, use Goryo's Vengeance, attack with her, hopefully flip an Enter the Infinite or an Omniscience. Enter the Infinite is going to put Omniscience on top. We're going to take an extra combat step, get a cast the Omniscience for free, cast another Enter the Infinite, put a card on top of our deck, free cast Emrakul, take an extra turn. This is my second time running the deck on stream. I guess third because we did Bell and Cannon for Boros turns during London Mulligans when it was busted. But yeah, this deck is a ton of fun. I absolutely love it. It's a total meme. Hello, Seraphix. How's it going? But we have our first match. I need to update the record. So, one of the things this deck needs to do that I'm going to constantly forget is we do not want to play first. Oh, the resolution looks off, but we can kind of deal. Alright, what does this hand do? This hand does absolutely nothing. So we do get our mana, but absolutely nothing. We get spoils for Goryos and spoils for Pull from Eternity with this hand. I honestly don't think that's good enough. Oh boy. Things are going downhill. Yeah, the first hand was awful. Alright, this actually looks a little bit better. We can keep that. We do not want a Savage Beating. We did not exile a Narset. So there's a couple of checklists for this deck, one of which is, do we have a way to get Narset into exile? If we do, Pull from Eternity is great. If not, we need to Faithful Saluting. Yeah. Get a Faithless Looting. Fury the Horde we need to keep at least one of around. Next turn we can spoils for just about anything. If we exile a Narset, we can put it in the bin. Goryo's Vengeance. Okay, so what we need to do next turn is run out the swamp. We're going to spoils for Simian Spirit Guide. Hopefully hit Narset and then pull it into the graveyard, use the Simian Spirit Guide to cast Goryo's Vengeance. So we can bin both Furies here. And that's going to be our strongest line. This deck is really hard to play. I'm going to try to describe my lines in the best way possible, but a lot of times it's dependent on odds of like exiling or flipping specific things. Dryad Militant is perfectly a-okay. Thalia. Thalia makes things significantly harder. So, Gemstone Caverns. Yeah, we're going to have to cash in the Gemstone Mine by the time that we Goryo's Vengeance. So we... Actually, does that make us buy an extra turn? We're playing against Hate Bears. Definitely running out the swamp this turn. I'm going to be Spoils in step. What does this mean, though? So Spoils is going to take Gemstone down to 1. Pull from Eternity is going to eat the Gemstone Mine, and then I still need to find another mana source to Goryo's Vengeance. So I can technically spoils for Mana Confluence. That would keep my Gemstone Mine around until I have to Goryo's Vengeance. Hopefully I exile a Narset and I get 2 turns. I'm not dead on table for that. Teague. Okay, Teague doesn't change anything here. So opponent's deck is basically casting cheap, efficient creatures that do hateful things. So I think my best line right now is to spoils for the Mana Vault. Hopefully not. Hopefully exile a Narset and then I have 2 turns. But I might kill myself with spoils. That's the fun of this deck. You never know what's going to happen. So Mana Confluence. Okay, go to 8. I did hit a Narset. Yeah, you're right. We actually can't beat the Teague. I was only thinking about the X cost. And then I just showed opponent most of the deck for absolutely no reason. So going into sideboard, I actually did cut the Slaughter Pact, which is what I would use to kill Teague here. I just figured it'd be more efficient to add a Visagi over the Dispels. We end up getting Unsubstantiates and Echoing Truth and Stony Silence for the Artifact Hate. Commandeer's not going to do anything against Hate Bears. Shoal doesn't do anything against Hate Bears. They're not going to have discard. So that means that we almost always have to board and bounce spells because opponents will end up going and either getting Grafdigger's Cage, Leyline of the Void, Relic, basically any of the hate pieces. These always just have to come in. As far as cuts, Brilliant Ultimatum is one of our worst redraws whenever we attack with Narset. So I usually like to trim on these. Then my list, I like to run 2 Omniscience so we can exile 1 with Serum Powder. So I need to keep both of these around. Fury's great as a way to exile Narset. Basically, I think Savage Beating is our worst actual extra combat step, and Spoils is going to hurt, but they're not going to put us under a lot of pressure. Probably just trim a Serum Powder. This is great when it's great, but when it's not, it's just a mediocre spell. It's not overly scientific. We do not want to play first. This hand is a free Serum Powder exile, so we'll still have 2 Fury of the Hordes to be able to take our extra combat step. So that's Serum Powder. This is one of our Omnisciences going away, but we don't have any way to cast, and the Spoils has to get us 2 combo pieces, so I can powder that fairly confidently. Here is a Spoils for a Goryo's Vengeance, and that's... Oh, I have to get Narset into the bin. So I can exile the one, or I can pull from Eternity the one in exile. So the Spoils can get pull from Eternity. I need 1 more combo piece. Opponent's going to be on Hate Bears, so they probably have all kinds of things that are nasty. I think we can do better. We've really taken out a lot of pieces of our deck that we care about. Okay, yeah, so this is Spoils for Goryo's, a way to get Narset into the bin. This is good. And again, don't need the Serum Powder. We get to start with the Gemstone Caverns, exiling Enter the Infinite. So, yeah, Spoils is going to have to get Goryo's Vengeance. Great. Why is Hate Bears running Thoughtseize? That don't seem right. They must be the Visir combo? Oh well. Gonna make most efficient use of mana if we do actually top deck one of our 4 Goryo's Vengeances in the top 40. Yeah, we're just draw Goryo's. Faithful City's still going to be pretty good. I'm keeping all future lands because we only need a Goryo's Vengeance to win here. Savage Beating is absolutely nothing. This deck is a ton of fun, but it is very hard to pull off. Most of the time people run it, they expect to go 1-4, potentially even 0-5. I've actually done pretty well with it. I usually at least go 2-3. But as people know how to interact with it, record goes down significantly. All right, I don't think I can beat that, so let's move on. This Sully is going to make it so that our Narset enters tapped, so we can't actually attack with it with the Goryo's Vengeance. Oh, I could have done it at their end step and untapped. Oh yeah, I wasn't even remotely close to doing that, though. All right, well, that was bad. Hopefully our future matches will pair up better. Like I said, this one is going to be fairly quick, just because we're typically going to know if we're going to win or lose. If I draw it out, the record does usually get a little bit higher. You hit a point where you can use the Simian Spirit Guides and Serum Powders to actually hardcast Narset. But those aren't the games you really win, and that's not what you want to do with this deck. This deck is sit down, blow somebody away, and move on, and lose, then blow somebody away. This deck is for fun memes. It's not for trying to draw into a 6-mana spell with 17 lands. Alright, what does this deck do? We get a Spoils for a Pull from Eternity, hopefully exile a Narset, draw a land or a mana source, and combo. I'm good to give this a shot. And it's control. So one of the keywords on Narset is hexproof, and that makes her pretty good. Quite bad to opt Terminus though, but if opponent's starting to brainstorm with Jace, then we've already lost. Alright, so Pull from Eternity is what we're looking for here. We only exiled 5 cards, and it wasn't one that we wanted. Alright, that's not great. It's possible that we're going to start pulling from Eternity the Faithless Looting if we see another land. Because we just need to find a way to get Narset into the bin, and Faithless Looting's a way to discard. Alright, and most of the time when your opponent stops to read the 5 cards in exile, they don't know what you're doing, so we might be able to squeeze a win out. Either that or they're just flabbergasted that we're trying to play Narset Cannon when Neo forms a deck, but what can I say? I love Narset. Oh, Dovin's Veto is going to be so frustrating. I didn't even think about that. Alright, well that's why we have our Besage in the board, so that we can make a spell uncounterable, and Goryo's Vengeance uncounterable is quite good. Teferi. Alright, well I'm more on board to do this now that I know I'm not going to be able to do it in step. Let's grab the Faithless Looting. If we top deck a land, we can at least start to set up to win. Alright, Fury of the Horde doesn't really do anything, so we are shipping it back. On the plus side, that really shouldn't affect a whole lot. I guess it lets them set up Serum Visions as a way to Terminus if they are on Miracles. Adding the Swamp is my own personal little spice because everybody and their mother seems to be running Field of Ruin these days. Alright, so Simian Spirit Guide. Opponent has Cryptic mana up. Oh, that's rough. So I can Simian Spirit Guide Faithless Looting. They'll probably just counter it, and we have to move on with our lives. If I Serum Powder, we're going to take 2 damage for no reason when we're already at 13. We'll be looking at going to 11 just to recast the Faithless Looting. I think we're going to just try to Faithless Looting and see what opponent's got here. Because if we find a Narset, we can win next turn. But if they've got the counter, then that is so rough. Alright, well, Brilliant Ultimatum and Serum Powder probably tell the least about what we're doing. So we still need to find a discard outlet and a Narset. Time's slipping. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have kept that hand. That was probably just a bad decision. Alright, so if they field us again, then I need to find another mana source. Alright, what are the odds opponent kills me? So I can get out the Serum Powder. Colonnade's going to be a little too slow. They'll just bounce it with Teferi. But that'll cash out Teferi. No, I think we're just trying to find a Faithless Looting. We still have plenty of outs, though. So the funny thing about this deck is it looks like we have absolutely nothing going on, and then we just draw a Faithless Looting, and we find another Simian Spirit Guide and kill them out of nowhere. but that's 3 of 39. Yeah, odds aren't great on this one. Opponent's just setting up, and they can also start hard casting Terminus with Teferi if we do actually get Narset, so we'll give it one more draw and then move to sideboard. Alright, so Jace, they can stack their deck. They put a card on bottom, so they must be trying to keep me off of lands, which ironically does absolutely nothing. Okay. Yeah, we're not coming back from this point, so we can move to board. I'm assuming opponent doesn't know what we're doing, but again, you always just want to bring this in. So, yeah, those guys if we need them. Leyline can protect us from Jace, but we're going to try to win on like turn 2. Commandeer can take their Planeswalkers. So when Commandeer comes in, you usually have to take out more of the red cards. So I'm probably going 2 Savage Beatings, 2 Serum Powders. Spoils also tells your opponent exactly what they need to counter because of what you're tutoring for, so I'm okay to trim on it a little bit. Yeah, just a brilliant ultimatum, and we can submit like that. Overall, nothing too exciting. Like, Stony Silence is just in here so that if we see that they're on Relic, we can shut it down. Shining Shoals just that we can stay alive a little bit longer with Burn because we did just deal like 9 damage to ourselves here. Again, we do not want to take the play with this deck. This hand is going to Gemstone Caverns, exile Gemstone Caverns, spoils for Goryo's. No, we need one more combo piece, so we're going to go down. This is spoils for basically any 4-drop in our deck and hope that we hit Narset, so this is probably going to be spoils for Faithless Looting. Yeah, that's good. Definitely do not want to see Omniscience this early. Gemstone Caverns comes out. We get to exile Enter the Infinite because it does nothing. Then spoil, see if we kill ourselves. It's always a fun one. Faithless Looting, so 4 of 54. Oh, I should have gone for Simian Spirit Guide. That was a misplay. If I had gone for Simian Spirit Guide or a land, I actually probably should have gone for a land. Oh well, we kind of have some time to set up. Discard the 2 extra cards. Yeah, that was a misplay. I should have gone for a land. A land would have at least let me pull and potentially drawn another mana source to win that turn. Govin's Veto, perfectly acceptable. Oh, that's actually quite bad for me. So that gets me black, but it shuts off my pull from Eternity. Oh, I exiled my Swamp. Okay. Yep, that's a problem. So 2 mana sources, I'm still technically in this. Wow, so not going good for Narset Cannon. Yeah, let's just move on. I did spoils for the wrong card there, but overall the hands haven't really quite been working out. The nice thing about Neoform is you get a lot of pieces that actually set up, and Manamorphose is basically just a cantrip. Like, you can set up a decent amount. The Summoner's Pact also gives you a little bit more stability in the combo, because you can just go tutor for the Allosaurus or whatever you need to actually combo off. Again, I'm mildly fried. I've been doing house stuff for 5 days straight now. Narset Cannon's so much fun, though. Especially when your opponents don't know what you're doing, but it seems like everybody kind of figured it out already. Goryo's Vengeance is such a busted card. If you do want to play with Goryo's Vengeance, I highly recommend that you actually play blanking on the deck name. Goryo's As Foretold. That's definitely my deck of choice these days. It's just a combo deck that can actually end the game and draw you into the right stuff, and you can get busted starts like Grizz Shoalbrand, but you get the tempo play a little more similar to Splinter Twin. Hey, we found our match. Alright, so this is a pretty easy pitch to Serum Powder. We will lose one of our Pull from Eternities, which is a card that we'd want with Narset in the exile zone, so that's something to take note of. Here we get, oh boy, we have plenty of mana sources, but absolutely nothing to do with the Narset, so that's a mulligan. Here is a Faithless Looting, 2 mana sources. This is good enough to try to go off with. Do not need the Fury of the Horde. Yavimaya Coast, alright, so probably Infect. Or Bantel Drazi, actually, is probably more likely. Okay, so Narset has to be in the bin for Goryo's. And on the plus side, if this is Eldrazi, they're not going to be interacting with us. If it's Infect, they've moved away from a lot of main deck counter spells. They've gone more into the hexproof creature buffs. Alright, so definitely Bantel Eldrazi. Sky Spawner. That seems like a new one. Or that was common back when Eye of Ugin was legal. Alright, that Serum Powder is not a card I want to see right now. Gemstone Mines do lose their counters, so I'm going to try to get out the Gemstone Caverns first, just so I can use colorless on it, like Goryo's Vengeance. If I have colorless mana coming up, like with this flashback Faithless Looting, which is what I'm eyeing right now, I'd rather not lose a counter off of 3 Gemstone Mines. Alright, so this is looking like the 5 mana. Yep. Alright, so Smasher's going to put a real clock on, but I'm going to combo with Narset as soon as I find a Goryo's Vengeance. That Omniscience does nothing productive. There's another Narset and another mana source. Lovely. Pitch those two. And just looking for a top deck Goryo's Vengeance. Technically, another Faithless Looting into a Goryo's Vengeance could do it. Pull from Eternity wouldn't do it. Spoils could do it, but it'd be risky. This is just another Reality Smasher. I'm really running low on outs. Okay, well, joke's on you, opponent. I don't have anything good in hand. 2 casts of Faithless Looting later, 20 cards in. So currently taking 7. I'll be able to look at 6 cards with spoils, 7 including draw from turn. It's doable. What opponent should be taking here is actually the Simian Spirit Guide. It's going to give us the most amount of mana in case we do actually need to like Faithless Looting into Goryo's Vengeance. This is our best card to actually enable all of that. They can't take the Gemstone Mine. The Omniscience actually is not a terrible idea since we already have 1 in exile. This deck typically only plays 1. This would take out the Emrakul Quick Win. We'd actually have to do the Relentless Assault beatdown plan with Narset, and that's going to be hard with a Thought Knot out. Alright, took the Relentless Assault. So this opponent probably doesn't know what our game plan is. Alright, Savage Beating does not do it. So, move to sideboarding. Unfortunately, their deck is probably on Surgicals, so I can try to Commandeer, but that doesn't seem very valuable. They also probably are on Grafdigger's Cage or potentially Relic. The Tron list typically run Relic, but I want to say that their Bant list is the one that uses the Spawner to infinitely create Scions. Either way, Graveyard Hate pretty much always has to come in. That means Brilliant Ultimatum gets trimmed, probably Serum Powder and a Savage Beating. Like, this has just been my typical go-to. If you bring in Commandeer, you need the blue cards to exile with Brilliant Ultimatum, but they're going to be on the creature beatdown plan, not the Karn Liberated plan, so that's always an option. If I am horribly misreading this and they have Chalice, I actually probably need to bring in the Commandeers, but I have 2 mana bounces for their Chalices, so it's potential I can go off through it. Overall, though, the odds have not been in favor of Narset Cannon. I need to update the record. We're currently 0-1 with a 0-2 record. Leyline? What's the actual verbiage on Thought Knots here? Target opponent? Yeah, that would stop it, but we're supposed to win well before they get to Thought Knots here. Alright, this hand has 1 combo piece in it and mana. It's not good enough. This hand has Goryo's Vengeance and Faithless Looting, Pull from Eternity. This looks good enough. So I'm going to have to use the Gemstone Caverns, exiling the Fury of the Horde. If I find another mana source I can flashback Faithless Looting, I'm basically just looking for a Narset in the top. I guess it's going to make it 7. This is going to be an old Bant Eldrazi list. It's not nearly as common anymore, but I think that they should only have Thought Knots here. This Unsubstantiate probably needs to stick around, but I don't actually have the mana for it, so I'm going to put it on bottom. I'm trying to go for a quick win here anyway. We did not use a Serum Powder, so we have nothing in exile. I probably should have exiled the Serum Powder. Yeah, Sriracha, it's not a good idea. Like, technically this deck is supposed to be able to win on turn 1, like, 5% of the time, and turn 2 probably about 20% of the time. Did opponent not realize I gave them the play? They figured it out. Alright, so they have Ancient Stirrings. They're not on Chalice. This is going to be Faithless Looting. So I need to keep 1 Omniscience in my 60. So I can get rid of 1 and probably just the other enter the Infinite. It's our fastest win on Magic Online, but I basically just need mana here. 1 mana and a Narset will win us the game. But if that's our plan, this is going to be super slow. Eldrazi Temple means we're probably looking at Displacer. There it is. So they end up trying to displace like the Sky Spawner, and okay, that actually kind of works. So spoils for Gemstone Mine or Mana Confluence. That'll give us 2 mana. Hopefully... Okay, so I need to do this main phase. So what's going to happen is I'm going to spoils for a mana source, get it, hopefully exile a Narset. I can pull from Eternity at end step and then Goryo's next turn. So I can do Mana Confluence or Gemstone Mine. Gemstone Mine's going to have the 3 charges on it. And not cost life, considering spoils is probably going to get me pretty close to dead. I think I got to go that direction. So Gemstone Mine. Oh, no Narset. Alright, well, that's a start. So if I find a Narset now, I basically need to find another mana source so I can flashback Faithless Looting. Or drawing a Faithless Looting into a Narset. Could also be a kill next turn. There's some options, but this is going to be a Thought Knots here, and it's going to take our Goryo's Vengeance. More than likely. Again, I don't think opponent knows what we're doing, so it's possible they just take the Relentless Assault again, although Goryo's is a very scary card. really don't know what they're going to do, but it should be the Goryo's Vengeance. Yep, there goes Goryo's Vengeance. So now a Spoils calling Goryo's Vengeance and a Mana Source can also do it. Or just Goryo's Vengeance and a way to get Narset in the bin. Well, I'm on a pretty quick clock here, so not a whole lot of time to figure that out. Probably just getting rid of the Serum Powder and probably... I really don't like figuring out how to cast Savage Beating. It's the only one that you have to cast during combat. All of these are in main 2. So if it comes to it, I can Echoing Truth, Thought-Knot Seer to stay alive for one more turn, get an additional draw, and potentially combo off, but that's going to shut off my Mana Confluence. And this is just Smasher. RIP. Narset Cannon is not doing well tonight. Let's go ahead and update the record. So when we do things that are explosive and powerful, when we don't, we die horribly, like we've seen here. A lot of this deck is understanding the mulligan decisions, and I haven't played it since basically all the war cards came out, so I'm probably a little rusty. I also think some of the newer lists are running the new Sphinx. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but let's see if I can find it. Nope. This guy. So if it's in your opening hand, you can scry 3 at the beginning of your first upkeep to look 3 cards in to find the last piece that you're missing. And then it's also a 4/4 flyer so that you can actually cast in this deck. I'm not exactly sure where they ended up on it, but I know that some lists have been trying it out just to try to filter into your combo a little bit better. Like you could keep a hand with 3 Sphinxes and just scry multiple times until you get the last card you need for the combo. I would not like to play first. This is a turn 1 Faithless Looting Spoils for Goryo's. Yeah, this is the first hand that we've had that actually has like every combo piece we need in it. So, alright, and opponent skipped through their turn here. So what I'm going to do is actually cast the Faithless Looting off the Simian Spirit Guide. Oh, and we even found the Goryo's Vengeance. Alright, so discard these 2, Gemstone Mine, and then end step I'm going to Spoils for an additional land. It doesn't matter which one, Goryo's, and we should have lethal, assuming Narset doesn't whiff. Alright, this is also a bait for Spell Pierce at this point. Guess they don't have it. And I need a 4 of land, so that's going to be Mana Confluence. Hey, it was on top. Look at that. So good and talented at this game. We go black 1. Narset comes in. Narset gets to attack. And we found Omniscience right off the bat. Oh, but this is why Savage Beating is so awkward. So I have to go to main 2 to cast Omniscience. I gotta cast the Serum Powder. May as well cast the Faithless Lootings. Okay, there's a Fury of the Horde, so we're still fine. Don't really need these 2. Get to cast Fury of the Horde for an extra combat step. Go back to combat. And this is Narset Cannon doing its thing. Alright, so there's the Enter the Infinite, so not going to play with my food here. This is going to be Enter the Infinite. Get to cast it for free. We draw our deck. It doesn't matter what I put back on top, so I'm just going to put a land. Then we get to go find Emrakul. Cast it for free. We get to take an additional turn. Go to our additional turn. Then attack with Emrakul. And I can even give it double strike and get multiple attack steps, but who doesn't love a flawless victory on turn 2? Yay! Alright, so I'm not exactly sure what opponent's doing. They've got a single island, and they didn't represent Spell Pierce. They didn't turn one a Curse Catcher or Benthic Biomancer or Aether Vial. Again, though, every time that we do this, these 4 cards basically just have to come in. Not keeping Commandeer, so going to trim on Brilliant Ultimatum. It's one of our most awkward redraws. Savage Beating comes out. Serum Powder can just come out. We need a lot of these cards for our strategy to work. I do run the additional basic land, so I'm sure most people are just like, you don't need that, but Field of Ruin and Disposal of the Vault has won me a couple of games we'll play in this list. Yeah, the Emrakul package is the fastest way to win, so that you're not just doing additional combat steps with Double Strike. I think we're just going to resubmit, and hopefully... We did look out a little bit that opponent clicked through their beginning combat step. Like, ideally, that's not how you win, but... Actually, I might bring in Beseiju over Gemstone Caverns. They are a blue deck. I probably want the anti-counter magic. Alright, what does this do? This gives me absolutely nothing. So this is an easy mulligan. I have a Narset, no way to get her into the yard. The Beseiju's good sideboard tech and Substantiate's good sideboard tech, but I need a way to reanimate her. I also need a way to get her into the yard. Yeah, none of that's great. Everything here, so we're going to lose a mana source, which is unfortunate, but I don't care about any of these cards. The Simian Spirit Guides are worth keeping track of for Spoils of the Vault. Speaking of Spoils of the Vault, so I can... we are currently 1-0 for the match, 0-3 overall. We're 0-6 for all the rest of the matches. We got our first win, though. I don't think Spoils is good enough here. We have our mana and we have a Spoils, but I don't think that this is good enough. The sideboard hate might make this good enough, but slow rolling versus blue just isn't going to get us there. Oh boy. Oh, opponent's mulliganing very low down to hate cards, so we might have this. Oh boy. Sure. They kept 5, we go to 3 with absolutely nothing. Yeah, this deck does significantly better with London Mulligan. Which is funny because they broke London Mulligan with Serum Powder, so you'd activate Serum Powder when it first came out, and it would just let you start mulliganing for free. Alright, this is just going to be Omniscience, and again, I don't like Savage Beating. We did see the weakness there with Omniscience not being able to recast it. We also don't have a Narset in Exile, so this Pull from Eternity is a little awkward. And they are Merfolk. Okay, so they're probably on Deprive then. One more mana, I can start flashing back this Faithless Looting, but they're going to kill us with a 2-1 while holding up counter magic, more than likely. Yeah, I took this deck to a 4-1. I think I was 8-3 at the end of the day. This deck has some power to it, but opponent is clearly representing counter magic here or a Trickster. I'm going to Spoils for a Mana Confluence because there's still 4 in our deck. The mana will also allow me to flash back Faithless Looting and potentially exile a Narset. Okay, that's awkward. That was a horrible Spoils. Spoils revealed 3 cards. Yep, Master of the Pearl Trident. This one's probably slipping away. So opponent didn't actually keep any hate, they just mulliganed to a decent Merfolk hand. Okay, well, that's how we're going to win this. So, what needs to happen is I'm going to need to do this on their end step, and then they're going to counter it, and then I need to draw another one. Which, it's 3 of 39. Currently taking 7, though. They've just been holding that deprive. I'm assuming that this is a lost cause. I can't wait until they're in step, so we're just going to fire it off and see if they're not holding the counter magic. Wow. Okay. Trickster doesn't work on hexproof. So I'm still going to get this attack trigger. It's possible that like I just exile a Goryo's Vengeance, they kill it, and then I get to try to combo off again. Alright, so I at least get an extra combat step. I can bounce the Master if I need to. Pull from Eternity can set me up for basically nothing. We'll see if they decide to block. Alright, extra combat step. Roll it back. That's a possibility. I probably need to keep that in the back of my mind. So I get the additional combat step. Also, depending on what's left in my deck, the spoils can just get me any red card and I can alternate cast this. Okay, so there's a Savage Beating, which means I get an additional combat step. Let's go to block, see what happens. Yeah, they pretty much have to have Trickster. So Entwine, despite being free, I actually have to pay the Entwine cost. You can see over here. So I'm going to untap, get an additional combat step, we get a reroll. Again, Savage Beating is like the most awkward one to cast, but the double strike is actually a valid win condition sometimes. If you hit 2 extra combat steps, you're just like, double strike, you're hitting for 6, take an extra combat step, and it's over. Alright, Faithless Looting, Goryo's Vengeance give us some options here. But unfortunate... Oh, Enter the Infinite. Okay, so we should be fine. I don't know how I missed the easiest win condition here. Okay, so we get a hit. We get to cast Enter the Infinite. Draw our entire deck. So the trick here is we put Omniscience back on top of our deck. Then we free cast Fury of the Horde by exiling 2 red cards. It's going to be a Simian Spirit Guide and another Narset. Then we get one more attack step. We get to attack. Now we get to cast Omniscience for free. With Omniscience for free. I'm going to wait to cast Enter the Infinite because Trickster can actually stop Emrakul at this point. But I'm going to cast with Omniscience. We get the additional combat step. I'm going to... Actually, Unsubstantiate can hit a spell, so I'm going to Echoing Truth the Master. It's going to take away their blockers. Oh, look at me, so smart and lean. Alright, so they don't have Trickster at this point, so I get to cast Emrakul for free. So actually, I did that incorrectly. What I was supposed to do was actually Faithless Looting, put Emrakul in the bin with the trigger on the stack Goryo's Vengeance, and then take the extra combat step. But that's fine. So, Relentless Assault, we're going to take an extra combat step. We're going to do this a slow, painful way because opponent tried to Echoing Truth and took me off my game. So we get our additional combat step. Attack with Narset. We're going to do Double Strike. Monk Beats coming at ya. Cast with Omniscience. And double striking Narset gonna kill you. So the trick here, though, is that I'd cast Urn of the Infinite again, put a card on top of my deck, take my extra turn with Emrakul, and then swing in with the Annihilator like we did game 1. But Narset does Narset things. Like, you wouldn't ever think that she'd could be coming at you, double strike, beating you down, but it happens. Like, it totally happens. And that's why I actually run the Emrakul in this deck. I actually prefer to just do the quick, easy, and dirty. Enter the Infinite, Omniscience, Emrakul, enter the Infinite. It just seems so much cleaner for online play. It's less clicks. You don't have to worry about stepping through your extra combat steps for Savage Beating or like exiting and doing the Relentless Assault and Fury of the Horde. Like, I prefer the faster games. Plus Annihilator, Flawless Victories. I think everybody loves those. Alright, what do we have here? We have a Spoils for Agorio's Vengeance, a pull from Eternity to put her into the yard. Faithless Looting, just start discarding. This is actually everything that we need here. So it is running off of our basic and a gemstone mine, which is slightly unfortunate, but I think it has enough to actually make this happen. This could be as good as a turn 1 kill with a Simian Spirit Guide and a Narset off the Faithless Looting. And we might be looking at burns, so this spoils just got super bad. And we draw another spoils. Alright, well, first things first, let's see if we hit our nut draw. We do not. Serum powders go away. Then this means that I get a spoils off the swamp if we hit a Narset pull and Goryo's for lethal. Okay, that's bad. We are playing against Big Red. Or Free Win Red, depending on who you talk to. I'm basically looking for an extra land for Faithless Looting at this point, because the only way we're going to win is by naturally putting Narset into the bin. Okay, Chandra's fine. Blood Moon actually probably would have made us lose here. Actually, it would have made our Gemstone Mine stick around. Not sure how to feel about that. Alright, let's give this a shot. Oh, the flashback, derp to derp. I should know better than that. I really should know better than that. I lost counters and... yeah, that was bad. So, actually, let's take a quick look at the list. Yeah, that's shame. So... I can actually hardcaster? No, because they just took away my multicolored sources. And of course we find it. So the plan now is discard her to hand size. If we natural draw her and discard her to hand size, we can still win. Yep, and honestly I don't care about Chandra. I guess Chandra has me in 2 turns now, so I actually have to draw her this turn. Nope. Okay, so then opponent untaps, hits me for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I'm dead. So I can't do much about that. Alright, so Commandeer comes in. We can win by stealing their Planeswalkers, which means we need to keep the Brilliant Ultimatum, so we're taking this trim out. Probably actually the spoils because of Chalice. The Echoing Truth needs to come in. That always feels amazing when they like don't find another way to play off the top of their library. And so you're just like, yeah, I'm just going to gain a life. You're good. Probably trimming a pull from Eternity as well. Our fast ones are going to be our best wins, but odds are that they're just going to be able to exile Simian Spirit Guide and Chalice on one, which is so frustrating. Commandeer stealing their Planeswalker, again, is probably one of our best win conditions. Also, if they don't Blood Moon us, we can actually hardcast with Chandra's Plus fairly reliably. Stony Silence is an option. Yeah, they're not on rip, so Stony Silence should actually probably come in over, like, this spread, maybe? We can't dilute our game plan too much, but yeah, this looks good. Would not like to play first. This has no hard mana in it, but it has a commandeer. Yeah, that's not good enough. Alright, so this is a turn 1 Faithless Looting. I don't care about any of these cards. So going down 2 mana Confluences is super bad. But whatever. Kind of just got to do some stuff. Ooh, so this is going to be a discard to hand size, then immediately Goryo's Vengeance, regardless of what they're doing. Oh, but it loses to an early Blood Moon. Okay, well, this has enough pieces. I just have to hope that they're not on Blood Moon. Pull from Eternity definitely goes away. Actually, is this hardcast Narset hand? No, it's not. Okay, I'm hoping that this is Blood Moon. So this is not Blood Moon. Chalice? 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 Lame. Alright, well, that is the beats. Oh, it's Karn. Are they already starting on Mycosynth Lattice? Liquid Metal Coating. Okay, well, that's fine. That actually doesn't stop what I'm doing. Poor opponent thinks they're on the land destruction plan. Little do they know that we play fun Magic. We play discard Narset to hand size Magic. Alright, if this is still a Blood Moon, though, I am completely shafted. But if it's not, we're going to have some fun. Alright, here it goes. Black. Exactly. Opponent's probably just sitting there like, WTF, what just happened? Okay. Yeah, that's fine. That's not how I plan on winning, opponent. In fact, like, I'm probably not... If I whiff here, I lose, so I'm attacking you. Oh, boy. So I can spoils for... What's that card called? Fury of the Horde? Actually, can I get Emrakul? No, I can't. Alright, well, let's see if I kill myself here. Fury of the Horde. Let's actually just confirm super quick. This shouldn't be that hard. Fury of the Horde. Yep, that's the right one. I specifically left the Simian Spirit Guide in hand because I care about my mana. Okay, additional combat step. Unsubstantiate. What does that do? That at least bounces Karn, puts us on the same page. Oh, I hit a Fury of the Horde. We're good. I need to actually look at everything I reveal. That'd probably help a ton. Alright. Although my exile pile is getting pretty high. Okay, well, we just won, so it's fine. Okay, so we get to cast Omniscience for funsies. Enter the Omniscience. We can put, sure, Gemstone Caverns back on top. We get to cast... Did I exile Emrakul? Or am I just blind? I feel like I might just be blind. Okay. Oh, yeah, there it is. So we get a cast with Omniscience. We're going to put Emrakul back into our graveyard. That'll shuffle our deck back in. Then cast with Omniscience. Oh, that was a misplay from my part. I was supposed to enter the Infinite to actually get Emrakul back on top of my deck, or back into my hand. Now it's just back in exile. Alright, so I get a Savage Beating here. I'm just going to do Double Strike because I'm going to win. Untap all creatures. There's an additional combat step. With Omniscience. Honestly, Sriracha, it doesn't matter because I'm just going to do the Narset beatdown plan here. Eat it, opponent. Turn 1 Karn. Fun, fair, clean magic, right? Alright, so does that change anything? I'm feeling a little bit more inclined to bring all of these in. Like, that means that I'm going to be trimming on cards I actually want to see, but... yeah, that just might actually be appropriate. You don't think Stony should be in the deck? You don't think that they're on Relic? Relic, like, really messes with our day because they just start exiling the bottom card. Oh, you're correct. They are a Chalice deck, so they shouldn't have Relic. Yeah, you're right. Stony should not be in the deck. They might have Tormod's Crypt, but that's fine. Like, a Tormod's Crypt is just a one-shot that I can kind of play around. Yes, Roger, that actually is really a good point. So, like, they had a turn 1 Karn, and I mulliganed a 5 and went to discard and won with a single land. Turn 1 Crypt does get in under Stony, but I'd basically slam Stony and then go for my combo. Sorry, apparently my water heater just got fixed. I was trying to figure out the solution for it. Okay, what do I actually want in the deck then? I guess that's going to be just a ultimatum? No, spoils. It's going to be a spoils. Yeah, diluting the deck is a super big cost when this is a linear strategy that does something very well. Like this right here is kind of garbage. The Serum Powder is going to get rid of one of our Omnisciences. Again, that's why I run 2. It's going to put a Narset into exile for Pull from Eternity, though, so this is completely worth it to Serum Powder. Opponent did keep their 7. And I cannot mulligan this, so you can't, or I can't powder this. If I Serum Powder Goryo's Vengeance, that's the only thing in my deck that has a single copy of. No. So the Chalice trigger goes onto the stack to counter it, but Boseiju gave it text that it can't be countered, so the Chalice trigger will resolve but not do anything. This hand is actually kind of okay. So it doesn't get around any sideboard hate, but it does allow me to spoils for a Pull from Eternity. Actually, Pull from Eternity, put the Narset into the bin, and then Goryo's Vengeance. So I'm going to keep this. That'd only be if they Chalice on 2, which I guess is a possibility. It'll allow me to actually... yeah, Sriracha, you're probably correct. If they can figure out how to Chalice on 2, then my deck is in a lot of trouble here. They're not going to push my life total very quickly, and I'm going to care about the counters on the mine, so I'm going to spoils off of the Mana Confluence. Alright, that is a Blood Moon, so I have to spoils here. Do I spoils for my swamp and really gamble and actually try to stay in this game? Or do I spoils for Faithless Looting? I guess would be the backup. I can cast the Faithless Looting under the Blood Moon, but I probably only have a single turn to Faithless Looting before they actually have a threat or a chalice. If I go for Swamp, I have a 1 in 45, which means I'm likely dying. Oh yeah, good point. So we're just going to go all in here. Again, you don't play Narset Cannon to win. You play Narset Cannon to have fun and do explodey things. I go to 3. Oh boy, I go to 3. All right, what does this actually... Both my Omnisciences are gone, which means I'm going to have to pull and Emrakul if I want to get that line. Oh, look at that. So good at this game. So I'm going to Faithless Looting here in case I get a Simian Spirit Guide, which I do not. Opponent. Alright, so I'm pitching Serum Powder and probably a... Spoils is too risky. So if I flip a Pull from Eternity with Narset, I can pull Emrakul back. But I think that means that I'm just on Swamp here. Opponent's like, I assume you only play one Swamp? Alright, Chalice on 1. So that takes out the Faithless Looting, that takes out that Faithless Looting. Yeah, so I basically am on discard to hand size again. Ensnaring Bridge. Alright, so window's closing. Oh, I wasn't supposed to play the land. I'm still so fried. Yeah, playing the land was a huge punt here. Oh well, it wouldn't have mattered, but I shouldn't have done it. Alright, well, I am basically dead here. So I can Narset and Goryo's in. Nope. I'm just going to cast a Savage Beating because I can. I get Double Strike. GG's, opponent. Alright, well, we did see what Narset Cannon does. We got to see when she beats down. We got to see the Emrakul kill. It's unfortunate it waited until the very end of the video, but that's exactly what the deck does. It does some very explosive things very well. We got to play around a couple of hate pieces. Like, we did Narset Cannon-y things. I am overall very happy with how it went because that's how it typically goes. Typically, when I try and I actually play out every single hand and try to play to every single out, I can go at least 3-2 in a league. It does really depend on my matchups. Relic is the bane of this deck's existence. I'm sure you can see how hard it scoops to hate. You end up needing the 4 copies of the Leyline in the sideboard so that you don't get discarded because you just rely on specific combo pieces to go off. The London Mulligan rule was way too kind to this deck. I really should have done a video with it when it was working, but whatever. Try to have fun with decks, and this was supposed to be a pretty quick one tonight. We were done in an hour. This is our go-to Bell and Cannon deck. If you are a regular viewer and you are not feeling like the deck's going very well, just say Bell and Cannon, and we will actually evaluate if we want to Bell and just quickly play through a league with this deck, because I love this deck. It's a ton of fun. It does very fun things. And it's pretty quick. Like, whether you're winning or losing, typically it's pretty quick and fun, and you get to see some explosive stuff. So, thanks everyone. Typical plugs. Subscribe. Yeah. Great. Well, thanks for watching, and I should be back on Sunday. I'm also probably going to try to get a vintage cube in on non-regular streaming hours this weekend to make up for the fact that I was out Sunday and Monday. That'll at least be going to YouTube. But yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good one.